Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Arm Wrestling Tonight. This is Hollywood Mate Connelly with the double biceps. It is in the contract a legal requirement every single time we appear on camera. We are appearing on camera right this minute. And
Classic.
yes, I am very aware of this issue we're having with the camera. It happened about 10 minutes before we're about to start. I will get it fixed. But for now, we're just going to put up with it. The guest today, a fantastic young man who is now coming out of Queensland, the recent change, but someone who's been around the arm wrestling world for many years and has been doing tremendous things, especially in the last sort of 12 to 24 months, really starting to step up and get some amazing results. Also does the rankings for the AAF, the Australian Arm Wrestling Federation, or at least it doesn't do it for them, but there's unofficial rankings that Jacob is very much in control of, and it is none other than Jacob Johnston. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Thanks, Matt. Great to be here.
Awesome. There you go. And we'll just highlight Mr. Peanut here from the Peanut Gallery. He is the very first person to write a comment. He wins tonight's first comment of the night. And Taryn Broad, not far behind him, he says, hello, everyone. Well, hello to you, Taryn. Jacob, you probably faced Taryn before on the table, I'm guessing, at some point.
Oh, yeah. I was still having nightmares.
Yeah. Well, are you in the same weight class as him?
Yeah, I mean, back when he was an under 80 guy, yeah, we versed in that weight class. I think New South Wales champs maybe like 22 or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. And how did it go?
He's the most awkward guy I've had to sit up with. Like I was kind of having to pull my elbow back, and then I had to drop my hand so much that I was at a really weird angle that I was not used to. And so I learned some good table IQ that day. It was good to face someone like Taryn.
Yeah, absolutely. Smaller hands as well. Actually, it was quite interesting. I think on your Instagram, you've got quite a nice little short which details like what the different techniques beat, and if somebody's low hand.
Yeah.
I thought that was great. I was like, oh, this is really cool. I saved that because I was like, what are the counters to each one, or at least give you an idea as to somebody's low handing, what you should do. If they're cooking, then maybe this would work, or so it was quite a nice little video that you put together there.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, people seem to like the educational style content, which I guess makes sense with the YouTube, with the name, The Professor. So I'm trying to run with that kind of theme going forward.
There you go. And you've got Ibrahim Salaki, he says, we miss you at Spartans.
Dude, I miss you boys so much, not gonna lie. The Spartans was
so you've had to move recently for work purposes. Obviously, you're coming from did you grow up your whole life in
Newcastle?
Were your whole life you were there, and this is just a recent thing?
No, I'm actually I'm a Kiwi, so I grew up in Nelson, in top of the South Island, and I came over to New Zealand, to Australia in 2019 to do my postgrad degree. I finished that kind of started last year, so that's kind of why I was at the Newcastle University. Yeah. And then the job that I had in Newcastle ended up moving up here to their bigger facility up here in Brisbane. So hence the move.
Well, I mean, how do you like it up there comparatively?
A lot less mosquitoes, which is nice. Some of the time in Newcastle, I was having to train out on my deck and stuff, and at night time you get eaten alive. So it's a nice change.
Fantastic. Yeah, and did you set up the club there at Newcastle?
Yeah, so I was basically, when I first started, I looked at where the nearest club was, and it was Sydney, which is it was about an hour, 50 minutes from where I was. And so doing that drive twice in one night is a bit brutal. I did that for about a month before I started looking at my options of what I could do. And the university obviously supports the clubs. So that allowed us to buy like 4 tables off out the gates and get something started in Newcastle.
Fantastic. So they helped you, they gave you some funding and everything. That's incredible.
Yeah, back then it was a little bit more liberal. Like they'd have like a set amount of funding set aside each year. Now I know it's a little bit harder. They give like a certain percentage back of what you spend, depending on the way in which you spend it. If it's like at the university, or if it's an event off or if it's equipment, I think it's slightly less now. So it's become a bit more complicated. But yeah, back then they just give us like a cool amount of money each year, and you could choose whatever you want to spend that on. So we just spent a lot on the tables at the start, and that was our entire budget gone.
Yeah, tables can be pricey unless you got somebody that's making them for you. Yeah, absolutely. But no, that's fantastic. And when you went to the university initially and you said we would like to apply for a grant for arm wrestling, did they say what? What are you talking about?
They were super keen. Everybody that I talked to was like super enthusiastic about it because like everyone's arm wrestled, and so they think it's like a something cool and different because they don't really see it as a proper sport. They just see it as something that you do with your mates at the bar. Yeah, so everyone's super keen to try it out.
Right, and yeah,
we had our first year actually. We had really, really good uptake in numbers, so we were instantly at like 30 members probably in our first year, if not more. And so we quickly hit that kind of, you got to get like to a certain number for it to be self-sustaining, and we hit that straight away.
Yeah, absolutely. That's incredible. Is that, you think you attribute that you were running out of the university and you had a lot of the sort of 18 to 35-year-old people that were just always hanging around, and you had the club right there? And
I think universities are like the perfect inlet to the sport for young adults, because it can be, I guess, a bit harder to set up when you're a younger kid. Whereas once you kind of reach that age, like you've got a little bit of a strength background and you're looking to you like the combat aspect of it. And I'd say like a lot of combat sports come with probably, I'd say, more risk of injury, like things like boxing, whereas arm wrestling, you're not getting impacted. It's just a show of strength. And as long as you hold a safe position, unlikely to sustain any kind of injury, as long as you keep yourself in a safe position and all that.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. Well, yeah, that's fantastic that the uni not only helped you out with it, but that you were able to get to 30 members just very, very quickly. That's incredible. So was it a lot of people just sort of walk, because you guys set up, you were outside, weren't you?
Yeah, we used some of the uni facilities. We had, you have like the O week, the orientation week, and they'll have like they will set up your club stall. So we got a good amount of exposure there to kind of get up and running. And this one guy in particular, Eric Kang, who still arm wrestles now, he ended up getting a bunch of his friends to come around who helped kind of kickstart the club in that first year in particular.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. So did you have a lot of people that just sort of... That's
Greg
Yeo.
What are you doing on your honeymoon here?
He says, Greg Yeo from Eastside Arm Wrestling, who's jumped in for the comments here, says, hey, good evening, gents. Just hopped on to show my support on my honeymoon in Japan right now. Thank you very much, Greg. Always appreciated. Greg Yeo.
That's on the bucket list for me as well. Enjoy, Greg.
Oh, there you go. Great to see him in here. We've got a few of the people in. We will acknowledge the comments a little bit later on. But yes, so what was the thing that got you into arm wrestling to start with?
Well, a mate of mine in New Zealand was just started sending me like John Brzezinski versus Saplinkov and stuff like that. And we'd arm wrestled like a little bit when we were flatting together. So we had he was kind of like a powerlifter. We had another American footballer, and we had like a little three-way arm wrestle between us three. I was the lightest at the time. I was like 75 kilos, going into more calisthenics back then. So like body weight style training, like a lot of pull-ups. I was trying to work towards a one arm pull-up at the time. And I ended up beating both of them. And the American footballer was like 110 odd kilos. So I was like, oh shit. So I thought, maybe I'd be good at this. So then I went to the Spartans and got absolutely spanked, as we all do have that experience at the start, right? But yeah, just made me, it was the first experience of the levels with an arm wrestling, and just made me want to get better from there.
Yeah, Sydney Spartans is home to some of the best arm wrestlers in the country.
I think the first guy I gripped up with was Mario. So yeah, that was an interesting experience.
Well, it's probably one of the best guys to grip up with. Mario Tamakis, very, very experienced and super friendly, super nice. He would have taken good care of you.
100%. Yeah, Oz took me
at any moment. He just would have gone.
Yeah. No, and Oz was really good. He kind of took us through some of the the do's and don'ts of how to pull safely and stuff. And then
Oh, that's fantastic.
it's just always a great atmosphere at the Spartans. Everyone's super friendly and welcoming.
Yes, yeah, it looks like they it feels very community, like you're part of a group. You know, you walk in and you're almost welcomed as a friend, and you know, hey, it's like you're an
100%.
old friend who.
I feel like even worldwide, like definitely within Australia, it's like that. You can kind of go anywhere and people will be offering a bed for you to sleep on, or you're the couch or whatever. It really is like one big extended family.
Right. It's funny when we put events on, you know, there'll be a couple of people that will message and say, hey, is there anywhere I could stay? And then I'll put that out to our club, and then people go, yeah, they can stay with me. It's like they've never even met this guy. I don't even know who it is.
Yeah, that's so cool. You don't get that in any other
No,
sport.
it's insane. It's like oh, they arm wrestle. Yeah, no, they're cool then. Yeah, they come stay at my house.
Yeah, no worries. We'll feed them and everything.
What was his name again? No, I don't know. That's fantastic.
What got you into arm wrestling, Matt?
I had watched Pulling John, the documentary, and yeah,
Classic.
so I had an idea as to what was going on with it, but it was maybe 4 or 5 years later after that. I was at the Arnold Expo in Melbourne, and I don't know if you've been.
Oh yeah, awesome.
I don't think they run it anymore.
It was before my time.
Yeah. I reckon it was COVID, just before COVID was their last one. But essentially, they had just a whole bunch of different sports all happening at the same time in the same room, which was really cool. And they, you know, there was like a bicep curl competition, or there was a powerlifting competition, and then there was jiu-jitsu, and then there was taekwondo, and then there was arm wrestling. And because like, you know, you're just walking along, like looking at, because they're all happening, like, and it's legit competitions that you're watching. So you know, I'm watching people try to get an arm bar and a rear naked choke 2 seconds ago at the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournament, and then it's like I go, oh, there's arm wrestling. Like I'd never seen it in person. I'd only seen it in the documentary, and so I watched for about maybe 40 seconds before Tom Glacier was like pointing at me and going, come on, get up here, I'll get on the table, and I'm like, oh, I don't know. He's like, get up here. And I was like, all right. And, he was
classic Tom.
Fantastic. And actually, I'll show you what shirt I'm wearing at the moment is we made one up for him because he was gonna potentially do something with us. This is 2 years ago or something, and we didn't get
awesome.
Their AWE shirt for me. But I am a big fan of Tom. He's a great guy, and he is the reason that I'm sitting here at the moment.
He's a fantastic guy.
So yes, how to go with.
No, I love Tom.
Absolutely great man. How to go with him, and then he goes, where are you from? And I said, oh, I'm from Adelaide. And he goes, oh, hang on. And he calls Tim Graham, who was running the club in Adelaide at the time. He said, this guy's from Adelaide.
Oh, nice.
Instantly Tim added me to the arm wrestling Facebook group, and I hadn't sort of followed it up for maybe 6 weeks or something like that. But then Devin Larratt was coming through, and I was like, well, I definitely want to go and see that, because I had started watching it on YouTube.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he came through like the year before I started, so I was so gutted to miss that.
Yeah.
Because he came to Sydney
as well.
There was
somebody that came through the year before me, which I missed, which I think it was John. I think it was John Brassi.
No,
it was John.
Was it John? Right.
So I'm like, oh yeah, came through and whatever it was. And I'm like, damn it, that was about 6 months before I started.
Damn. Yeah, I know Giannis also came through the Sydney, I think maybe just before. It was either just before or after Devin. Okay. Maybe like the year before.
Too. Yeah, we've been pretty lucky. I mean, it's very special for us to have international guests. You know, when you get somebody like Todd Hutchings or even Amatori or Angie Morris, or guys 100%. That are from another part of the world that you would never ever get the opportunity to get on the table with, and then it's like, hey, they're going to be coming to your city. It's like, oh my god, this is going to be incredible. Everyone's going to turn up. People are going to fly there to do it. It's just
exactly
different.
Yeah, no, it's fun. It's funny seeing the pictures of the Spartans that night and like how busy it was, and now 4 or 5 years later we're hitting those numbers like more regularly. Like it's just a regular night at the Spartans now where we're hitting like 50 people there. That's sometimes
incredible. It's so good to see the growth of the sport, and it seems to be happening all around the country as well. And Queensland, I don't know what the hell's going on Queensland. 100%. I think they're up to like 8 clubs or something up there now, and you'll probably start another one.
Yeah. Yeah. I've just started another one up there too, because I bought my house up here, and I was like, okay, I'll kind of check out the scene, find out where all the clubs are. The Northside Vikings is probably like an hour north of where I work, so I'm like, I can do that once in a while, but again, like it's a decent drive, and there wasn't really too much on the south side of Brisbane until you go further down south to the Gold Coast
Right.
Club. There used to be something in Springfield, Jordan was saying, but they kind of petered out. So yeah, I was like, okay, well, if there's a demand for it, I'm happy to start up a club here. So I had to start thinking about branding and what I wanted to call it. And my friend that actually got me into arm wrestling to start with, Geordie from New Zealand, he suggested the arm wrestling lab, just fitting with the professor moniker. So cool. Yeah, it's a little bit. Yeah, because like, a lot of arm wrestling clubs are like, like the this arm wrestling strength club, or like something strength related. So I guess it's a bit of a point of difference, like the more technical side of things.
That's very cool. It's what is Peter Westjanker's thing? He has a similar thing to that, like table IQ.
Yeah, table IQ.
Yeah.
100%.
But there is such a technical aspect to the sport, which is, I love the fact that, what is that saying? Simple to understand, hard to master, and it seems to be completely relevant to arm wrestling. On the surface level, you can tell somebody in one sentence, you both get your arms together, and whoever pins the other dude first is the winner. It's like, okay, I can understand that's easy, and then it's like, now try and do it to that guy.
You got to do it. Yeah. Whenever you grip up with new people, they're always surprised with the amount of technique is involved. Like, you're not just pushing to the side; you're pulling and doing all this manipulation with your wrist, and there's a lot to it.
It's insane, absolutely. So,
like a mini martial art.
Definitely. Yeah, the counters, the setups, and all the different things, the strategy against the opponents, and what they're good at, and how to stop them getting what they want. It makes it so interesting. And then you've got different matchups that, potentially this guy's style beats his style, and it makes it a lot of fun like that.
100%. Yeah.
Settled into, are you top rolling? Is that what you're doing?
For the most part, yeah. I'm trying to, like, when I first started arm wrestling, I made it a point to want to train everything, be technically diverse. But for my first year or 2 years, I was definitely a pure top roller. I got to the point where I was like, okay, I'm never going to learn, because like a lot of my success in the top roll, I feel like is through learning how to do setups, and like what little movements you need to do. Like if you make like a 2% difference in your hand position, it can make a big difference. And I didn't have a lot of that with the other techniques. So one day, because I've always been able to start the top roll and then transition up to the press. So I was wanting to learn how to press off a go. So then one day I just started saying to myself, okay, you're not going to top roll. You're only going to press. I'd been training the press a bit, so my top roll was a little bit off. And my first dipping of the toes was I had a super match with Josh Parker when I was trying to press.
You're a madman.
Yeah. To be fair, it wasn't it's not on his right, so his left doesn't have as much of a press. So I wasn't like risking my frame quite as much, but yeah, he still spanked me that day. But I learned a bit from it, and then came back to beat Aiden Weinman, I think the week after that, and with the stuff I'd learned. So yeah, just gradually trying to pick up some table IQ from that. And now situationally, I can use it against certain people if I know it's going to be a good counter to them. Like I've tried to top roll Gary way too many times, and I can get so close to finishing and I just can't. So I've started using the press on him because it's the only thing that is more reliable. And even then, it's like a touch and go.
Fantastic. So do you find the same thing that I have noticed when people first start in the sport? They'll naturally gravitate towards one of the three techniques, like just their genetics, the way that they feel. Maybe they just can't grasp the idea of the top roll, but then they just always want to turn in. It's like, well, then just do that. And after a month, 2 months, they sort of have an idea as to which way they want to go. Do you get a similar thing in the clubs that you've been at?
Yeah, people definitely have their tendencies of which technique they prefer out the gates. I generally prefer to teach the top roll to start with because it's the safest technique. Like there's no risk of side pressure. If you're doing a bicep curl or a pull up, there's no risk of arm break because obviously when you're first starting, the tendency to push sideways and maybe you're using a bit of frame to do that is a potential. So getting someone to pull backwards more is good to start with at least. And then once they've kind of got in the habit of when they're losing, they keep it inside their shoulder and all that stuff, then you can start thinking more about getting more into hook or press style transitions or starts as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, some people just they love bringing that shoulder forwards right from day one even.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you can do that. That's a valid technique. Just be aware, like make sure you follow it if someone were to pull you out of it.
That's right. Yeah, it's always hesitancy when you first get on and somebody starts doing that. You're like, oh, okay, yeah. See how you're winning. I am letting you win, but the reason why is because if I pull back real hard fast and you're like this, yeah, not good for them.
I actually it was someone's first day and they were super, super strong. And obviously they didn't know about safe positionings at all. He actually broke one of the more experienced guys' arm at our club. So this other guy, he was more of a top roller. He kind of went to press for one of the first times, and this new guy just kind of ripped him out. And then that's the first and only spiral fracture of the humerus I've experienced.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. One of the great things about the sport is the amount of injuries is incredibly low. And you look at the professional 100%. Level around the world, guys are having matches. Like there are events on pretty much every weekend all across the world. And how many times you see an arm break? Like maybe 1 or 2 a year out of all of those people. It's insane. Like so
it tends to be newer guys. That's what I'm saying. Like as long as you get shown safe positioning and you're 6 months deep, you kind of have a good understanding of that stuff. Injuries are very few and far between. Most of the stuff, your wrist in training or which are like standard in most sports. None of the major ones. They're very rare.
Exactly, absolutely. And you've been doing quite well on the scene recently. I've seen your name popping up all over the place in first places and second places. And tell us about your results that you've had in the most recent year.
Yeah, last year was a real push for me. So I actually got married towards the start of last year, went on my honeymoon, and then I think 3 weeks after I got back was East West West qualifiers. I did try to keep training as much as I could, but obviously like the lead up to that wasn't ideal. I got my pronated riser, the best it had ever been to that point, but I noticed a really lack of arm power. So I was looking to address that for the rest of the year, and I really wanted to give it a big push. So I initially started doing Mario's program, and the volume in that, oh my God, dude, it was crazy. It made me really like learn to like, you'll do your set and you'll kind of piss around on your phone for like a couple of minutes and you end up maybe doing like 3 exercises in the night or something like that. With him, it's like you need a bam, 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 like no rest. Like he was saying like, oh, don't superset it, have it like a little bit of rest. But I was like, to get through all this, I need to like pick 3 of the exercises that's viable to, and then superset all of those so that I can get through everything. And so I did that all the way up to New South Wales champs. And that's where I had my first kind of big strength gain, I guess. And that was only probably like 2.5 months, and my press had come up like crazy. That was when I first, like, he got me doing a bit of more just general tricep. Like I'd always done like, shoulder-based stuff like this with the handle and that stuff, but just generally working your triceps seems to carry over a decent amount as well, like with JMs and a few other just like tricep push down type exercises. And so I was like, okay, this is great. Like this is building the general arm strength that I guess I was missing prior to that. And so then I took that, modified it a little bit going forwards, because I was getting a lot of tax on my elbows. So I wanted to just ease off on the elbows a little bit and put a little bit more of a top roll emphasis on things after that. And kept the training all the way through until nationals, where I was like really trying to peak hard for.
And how did you go?
Nationals wasn't so good. So like, yeah, I had a couple of good results at New South Wales. I got the first in the 80s, 95s, and I think like 5th or 6th in the Opens. And then Queensland, I got first in the 80s, and I forget what it was, the 95s. Maybe I got like 3rd or something, because it would have been Tuxworth, then Gary, and then me, I guess. Or maybe I got 4th or something. It was around there. ACT, I just went in the 95s because I was focused on Nats coming in big. I got 2nd to Tuxworth. And then, so I didn't even taper for ACT. I was just like too close to nationals for that. So then I was really looking forward to this taper for nationals. Best numbers I'd ever done by far. Like my pronated riser had gone up 10 kilos from the year before, from when I had that close match with Sam in the final. So I was feeling really good. And I was 7th. And looking at that class list when it came up on the screen, there wasn't a single name I didn't know. Every single one of those guys was an absolute killer. Yeah. Like Sam Safuri, who I think he's won like several nationals before. I think he went maybe 0-2 on left.
Wow.
It was absurd. Absolutely absurd.
Yes, absolutely. Do you remember who you had at nationals in the under 95s?
I was under 80s at nationals. Well, the two guys that beat me was Gary. That was a classic. That's very 50-50. I didn't go top row. I went press, got close to the pad, but he then got the rotation he needed and ripped me up. And then the new rising star, Nick Vella, who you guys have just had in the AWE tournament, we had a close match, and it was a table IQ issue. I felt like it was potentially winnable for me. I hit the top roll. I took his hand a little bit, and then I tried to come up to get back my cup a little bit for a second surge. But in that moment of coming up, my pronation got turned in, and he ripped me to the pad with his cup. So, yeah, it would have been interesting to see if I'd really laid out on that pronation, if I could have made it closer. But yeah, his rise has been meteoric. I remember first seeing him at the East vs West qualifiers earlier that year. He was only, I think, maybe 1 year in at that point. Like now he might be only 2 years in, and he's already having close matches with Josh Barker. He's one to watch for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you would have seen in the AWE 3 Grand Prix that him and Josh, they faced off twice in the event. But Nick able to take it out in that first round, and catching that press of Josh is just, I mean, that's
crazy.
Could almost give him a belt just for doing that.
Yeah, 100%. Especially because he's like, in the same kind of realm of weight. I know he was probably coming in a bit bigger for that one, like maybe like mid 80s. But the Josh was also one of the biggest he'd ever been. I think he was like high 70s, something like that. So very, very impressive of Nick to do that with Josh, because I know how strong Josh is. Like he, every time I think Gary's getting close, they have a super match, and then Josh just like looks at him, takes position and looks at him. I'm like, oh my God. It's like the stylistic nightmare for Gary.
Absolutely, yes. Some killers over there, and as we said before, the Sydney Spartans are home to some of the best guys in the country, and
the clubs come up a lot.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. And the Kingpins Club in Brisbane, is that not near where you are at all? Or?
I think I chatted to Lachlan at one point. Need to hit him up again about exactly where he's at.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, that's all right. But nothing like having your own one and know where it is every time, and you're the guy.
Lowers the administrative costs for me, I guess, having it at my house. So yeah, that's ideal.
Well, you can't sort of skip it because he's going to be at your own home.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like, I'm not going to train today, and then everyone turns up at your house. You're like, God damn it.
No, it's good. You need to. I feel like I need to have table time about once a week. That seems to be the optimal for me. Sometimes if I'm on really heavy training, I could maybe skip a week, but for the most part, I think it's good to get some regular table time.
Absolutely. I would just go to the comments, and we'll acknowledge everyone that's jumped in and had a nice little hello. And that the first winner of the winner of the first comment of the night was Mr. Peanut from the Peanut Gallery. As we said before, great to see you, Mr. Peanut. And Taryn Broad, as we said before, is in the chat. Jacob having some great matches with Taryn. Maybe some more matches against each other in the future as well. And
I'd love to verse him left. That would be interesting. I'd like to try and revenge my loss against him from like 3 years ago.
Taryn loves training left, and left is his
yeah, he loves it. It's his favorite arm, right?
His favorite arm. Chris from Intrinsic Media is here. He says, hello, peoples. Chris doing a tremendous job with our production side of things whenever we do events down here in Adelaide. This was, I believe, one of your old training buddies at the Spartans here, Ibrahim.
Yeah, Iram's another big rising star. He's come on and he's one of those guys that just launched in from day one, doing super matches all the time and regularly training. So he's going to go far for sure.
So good. The Drew is here. He was notified 15 seconds too late, apparently, instead of the first comment. What a tragedy, Drew. It's all over. We'll start it all over again. Mr. Peanut, that's his nickname. And
okay.
Yeah, well, I said, why is his name Mr. Peanut? He said, it's from, I don't know, some 1930s cartoon or something. Like, yeah, we'll go to the Peanut Gallery. Like, you know, they want to ask something. Oh, we'll go and check with the Peanut Gallery, as in the people that are watching or the crowd or the audience. So he's Mr. Peanut from the Peanut Gallery.
Okay.
What else have we got here? We've got Taryn is talking about peptides for some reason. Greg Yo, as we said before, he is in the chat there, and there is Greg's channel there. Eastside Arm Wrestling does a great job of supporting arm wrestling.
Drew must be like the most active fan of arm wrestling I've ever seen. Like he's under every comment thread. Like he's everywhere.
Yeah, that's why we've got number 24 here with us here tonight, but there are 23 other the Drews.
Oh, really?
Yes, he has cloned himself 23 times just to be able to do that.
Crazy.
And I think it's probably, I think literally it's like 3:30 in the morning in Las Vegas where he is. So like right now,
wow.
and he's still here in the comments.
That's insane.
Oh, absolutely. Pain Be Bad MK. I don't know who this is. Do you know who this is?
No, I don't know who this is.
I thought maybe it was one of your mates, but that's all right. He was asking Karen a question there. Lucky Wood from the Lucky Ones podcast is here. She says good morning and good evening, depending on where you are in the world. Great to see you again, Lucky. Check out her podcast every Saturday night or Sunday midday here in Australia.
Cool, I have to check it out.
Yeah, David Jansen is also here. Hello to you, another podcaster from Canada, doing great things for the sport up there as well. And he says hello to the Drew. Phil Woody is here. He is from the UK. We're getting people from all over the world at the moment, which is really nice to see. And we are here with Jacob Johnston, who does a tremendous job, not only with running the clubs that you've started, competing, and also you're doing the rankings for I guess is it official, is it unofficial? It's sort of a thing that you started doing to sort of, was it you're like, hey, I would just like to see a rankings list done, nobody's done one, let me put one together and see what happens?
Yeah, it was like, I mean, it started with the Newcastle club. We didn't have one, so I wanted to kind of establish something to motivate the guys. And then after a while of doing that, I was like, similar in New South Wales, like I kind of wanted to know who the next guy on the list was. Like if I want to slowly build my way up and progress in the sport, like who's the next kind of rung of the ladder to target. So yeah, I started doing the New South Wales one, and then yeah, you know what happened? I saw a couple of Ryan Bowen's like top 10 lists, and I didn't think they were the most accurate of within Australia. So I was like, okay, maybe I can do something for Australia as well.
Yeah, nice.
So then that's kind of sparked the Australian one, and then East vs West happened, and I actually got approached. Apparently, I can't remember if Phil got approached by a couple of the people, but some of the Kiwis were keen on some kind of like oceanic one. So I was a little bit hesitant to start this one because that means I have to take into account, like, keep up with like 2 countries' results, which is a lot of work.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it would be very cool to have one like this.
Absolutely. Yeah, so you can see I put it up here on the screen. Australian Arm Wrestling ranks, or Aus Arm Wrestling ranks on Instagram. And this is the Oceanic Arm Wrestling ranks that you've got up here. And but the interesting thing is you've got the sanctioned one, you've got the open one, you've got the the New South Wales Arm Wrestling ranks. And yeah, so it's a great reference tool for anyone who is in this region to be able to go to this page and say, well, I did well in my recent tournament. Let me see if I've made it onto the rankings list at all. And, you can see that you've covered it all here. I mean, yeah, I know you've reached out and asked for our results in the past, which you've entered, but it must be one of those things where you've started it and then it's like, oh man, now I've got to keep on top of everyone's results around the country.
I mean, I'm kind of watching anyway, so like like what makes it's not too hard for the most part, because the most results within Australia with kind of the AAF competitions, and those are all logged in their software, but it makes my life a lot easier. And then asking you for your results, obviously that also makes my life easier rather than having to go through and write down that I have to do that. Yeah, I couldn't do that for very long. But
you go.
Yeah, it's just good to kind of have like a nice easy ranking system where like you just win for a rank. And yeah, like obviously you mentioned there's the kind of sanction ranks and then the open ranks, and there was there was a debate towards the start. Who do we include? Because obviously not everyone competes in tested events, for example, and so we might end up missing quite a number of like top Australian pullers. And so in terms of like you're saying, maybe international people might look at this list and figure out who they want to invite to their events. So it's good to have like an all-inclusive list, as well as the more like AAF sanctioned style ranks as well.
Yeah, that was an interesting decision there, which I think has been met with some mixed results. Some mixed.
Yeah, you can't make everyone happy is something I've learned. So all I can do is put it out there, and like if someone wants to start their own, that's very happy to have more options if someone thinks they can do it better, for sure.
Oh, absolutely. That's the thing. The people love to criticize, and it's like, okay, go and make your own one. And then we'll see what your results are. Because if you're just complaining about one spot or whatever, it's like, have a look at all of the data that is out there. And if you're not happy about something that's that bloody close anyway, it's like...
Yeah, and I didn't want to make it opinion-based. So it's really like if you beat that person, you take the rank. But then that runs into some issues where maybe someone's been inactive for a while, and then they come back and they have a high level performance, but maybe they still lost, but they were close to someone who was like top 3 in Australia. That probably means they should be in that top 10, but since they didn't get the win, they're not represented there. So one example would be, I think, was it like Gunter's has beaten Mario in the past, and he got in the ranks at that point, but then Mario ended up beating like a bunch of people in front of Gunter's. So then it eventually pushed Gunter's off the list, even though realistically he's probably in the top 10. So yeah, you run to, but there's the debate to be had about like it incentivizes activity, which is a good thing. But I suppose there's some debates about maybe it incentivizes too much activity as well.
Too much activity, as in people manipulating their position just by entering lots and lots of different tournaments.
Yeah, like if there's someone that maybe fell off who was quite highly ranked, and then someone comes through and beats that person, then they're suddenly ranked in front of the people that maybe they couldn't beat, for example.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so we'll just have a quick look at the top 10. We'll just look at the open for here. We've got Left Arm, we've got Lachlan Adair, and then Brett Coots, which, man, that
would love to see those two. You guys have got to organise that, surely. Or our contract's getting in the way there.
There is, Matai Warangi had a Morris from New Zealand in the 3rd position there. Matt B on left. Who am I not?
Matt Bacon. So he had a phenomenal result at Over the Top. He beat a bunch of like the top heavyweights. From from the top of my head, I think he beat Andy Boskovsky. Maybe I'm going to get these wrong. Like I'm trying to remember from like literally 4 years ago or something now. But there was a bunch of the top heavyweights that he ended up beating. I think he beat Adam Laura and maybe one other top heavyweight as well. Mm-hmm. So they earned him like a really high spot at the time. And he's just kind of stayed active over at WA to kind of keep in there. Like in my opinion, Bowen Contado probably could take that number 4 spot, but that obviously has to be proven, right? You can't just put someone in front of someone else unless you're doing an opinion-based ranks.
No, that's true. That's true. Yeah, absolutely there. And Bowen Contado, as you said, he is in the next spot there on left hand, and what a amazing left-handed arm wrestler and right as well. But
crazy
seems to do significantly well in the Axeman, former Australian axe chopping champion.
real multi-talented athlete there for sure.
Oh, absolutely. And we got Vitali Matteo in number 6 there from he's Gold Coast, isn't he? Gold Coast Arm Wrestling Club.
Yeah. He runs the club up there.
Malachi
Jensen is a Kiwi.
Yes, and Charles Puri, who featured
Charles Puri.
Yep, great guy and awesome puller. John L there in number 9.
I forget what his last name is. Again, I'm not as familiar with the Kiwis as I am with the Australians. It might be John Leach. No, I'm probably getting his last name wrong there, but he's one of the New Zealand's top. I think he did quite well at New Zealand Nationals.
Tremendous. And Pepe, obviously. Pepe's in Queensland as well, I believe.
No, he's New South Wales.
Damn it. It was close.
Yeah.
You're now from Queensland, Pepe. The right hand, which is obviously, I guess, the one people are going to be looking at first and foremost, and they say who's the top guy. And right now, Lachlan Adair obviously is taking out that number 1 spot there, but closely followed by Rickard Bornman.
Would love to see that match too.
Yep. That would be incredible. Absolutely. Brett Coots there in number 3.
Yep. Maybe one day East vs West.
We'll see.
Those two.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Yes, Brett Coots moving up on the right there in the 3rd position. That's a big jump for him. Was that based on the most recent?
Yeah. AWE. Yeah. He took down Mate. That was huge.
Yes, absolutely. He's been in fine form of late and winning the left-handed AWE heavyweight belt. His next matchup will be against Mate Warangi at our next event.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that's going to be incredible.
A ripper of a match.
Oh, for sure, absolutely. And you've got Mate Warangi, Hector Morris in number 4 there as well. So those top 4 guys, I mean, geez, they're all humongous monsters, aren't they?
Yeah, 100%.
And then Ryan Bowen coming in at number 5 there. Hasn't been as active as of recently, but still a tremendous arm wrestler.
Yeah, did I hear right? He's moved to India?
I think he's a little all over the place at this point in time. So,
okay.
Yeah, so but I'm sure he'll be back and ready to go. He's always ready to go and having big matches. I think he has something lined up quite big for himself.
Him and Mario would be so peak. Like that match is always crazy good.
It is. It's a tremendous match. Mario Tambarkis and Ryan Bowen, both guys always seeming to improve. And Mario having some incredible wins over in America recently as well at the Knuckles Up event, and taking out some former world champions. And he's been doing incredibly well. Unfortunately, wasn't able to get through Ron Barth, but not many people in the world can.
Ron is still crazy strong. It's insane that he can be that strong at that age too. Like it's so impressive.
It is insane. It's almost unfathomable. Like it's just he's 60 something years old, 62, I don't know, and he's still in the elite levels of the sport, which is you could say it's a strength based sport. It's obviously you've got your techniques and everything as well, but primarily, I mean, if you can't implement those techniques because you lack of strength, then you're just going to get beaten. But
the number 1 rule in arm wrestling is to be strong.
Yeah, that's right. Just be stronger than everybody. What else we got here on the list? We got Andy Boskovsky in at number
Andy
7.
Viskovsky, he had a massive nationals a couple years ago. I don't think he competed at nationals last year because he still had some like injuries. I think he had like a back injury, but I think he's making a comeback now. So hopefully we'll see him more active this year.
Yes, plus he was in the AWE Grand Prix 1, I think it was the first one, but the heavyweight.
Yeah, and he's the first guy I think to be able to hook Mate. He actually sunk a hook on him. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah,
It was phenomenal. Yeah, super impressive. I don't think I've seen anyone else manage to do that.
No, he really shone on that day, and although not winning the tournament, he was definitely the standout in terms of unexpectedly amazing results. And he did beat Gunters that day as well.
He had a tough draw for sure. He could have potentially got better with a different draw. And that's such as the nature of tournaments, right? It's always hard, especially with elite tournaments like that.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, all 8 guys, I mean, any one of them could win the tournament, really. And I think he was coming in as the number 8 seed, and Mate Warangi was coming in as number 1, which is why they have faced off in their opening match. And it was pretty close.
Sank the hook.
He did.
I was screaming. I couldn't believe it.
Oh, that's incredible.
Good on him.
I got to look it up now because you're making me excited about it.
Yeah, it was the first time I actually got to see Mate like fight in a hook. I was like, is it game over once you get him in a hook? But he was able to fight back. It was like a pretty like open dragging style hook from memory.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, it was just good to see Mate have to kind of adapt and see a different technical weapon of his as well.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. I'm just trying to, here it is. I got the footage here. I will bring it up on the screen for everybody.
Non-buckle side. Non-buckle. Awesome. First table.
Yeah, that was the first match. This was the very first match of the tournament. And yeah, Andy Boskovsky on the left there. And Mate Warangi Hedemorris. Both guys are looking fresh, looking not covered in sweat yet because they haven't gone. This is the very first matchup. And it was
Andy with a fresh haircut, looking good.
That's right. Absolutely. And he was the lightest man in the field, I believe, around 100 kilos.
Yeah, right.
And I think Mate Warangi was like 165 kilos at this point.
Crazy. He's sitting up very high, eh?
Yep.
Like right up as high as he can.
Yep. And we got some.
Yeah, got the slip. Yeah.
Yeah. They've gone to the strap. It's all right. I'm not sure exactly what Mate had a problem with. I think it was the way his hand was closed or something like that. But
okay.
Here we go. There is the hook.
Oh, yes. Oh, my God.
Outside the shoulder on the bicep, but what a job.
But he sunk it. Yeah, that initiation, the supination cup combination was so good.
We'll see it come up here again as soon as they get the strap applied. And here we go. So pushing straight in on it and getting it, but then getting turned palm up. And now he's on his bicep. You can see that bicep right there.
He got fairly decent cup depth, not quite enough to kind of take the tax off his bicep, I guess. If he got maybe a little bit further around it, he could have potentially got that stop.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he did sink that position, but here was his another one of his highlights against Gunters Baikovs, another Australian arm wrestling legend from Latvia. And you can see here, so Andy, I don't think has ever even really been in
top rolling Gunters.
That's right. He's right on the edge there, and something going to get the slip.
Yeah.
But he's pushing Gunters to the limit.
Thought Gunters was going to hold on to his fingers for a second there.
Oh, and he gets the hook in again.
Yeah, same initiation. Yeah.
He's really dragging
deep
hard.
cut.
Oh, and he turned him over. There it is. He's got
it. So good.
Still in this, baby! That's Gunters, guys. Yeah.
Love to see it.
Absolutely. So he is in the rankings there as well. What was he sitting number 6 or something like that? Let me bring up the image.
6th or 7th or something. Yeah, I think he's just under Mario from memory.
Right, here we go. So Andy Boskovsky sitting at number 7. Yeah, Mario at number 6. Alex number 8 there. Alex.
Yeah, I was very much looking forward to seeing him in the tournament. Like I was I had a question mark in my mind of whether he could beat Bowen, because I know once he sinks that hook, he's so crazy. But I mean, Ryan showing his experience here, able to get out of his hand. And then the second time they faced, he was confident enough to go inside with him. And I was like, oh shit, that requires some balls, because Alex is crazy in that hook, absolutely insane. But yeah, I guess it looked like the rotational strength was on Ryan's side, and he was able to match the arm power enough to turn it into a battle of rotation.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. What a amazing arm wrestler. The Canberra Dragster there.
Yeah. Great nickname.
We've got a comment here from Theolel. Says miss you at Newcastle also.
Dude, I miss you boys so much. Like I'll definitely have to visit at some point.
And A_A says, what is this? It's madness. It's you don't want to watch, that's for sure. A_A, and the Drew got scared by that audio. Yeah, I didn't know that audio was going to be that loud when I clicked the mute button. Marcus is Tirai sitting in at number 9 on the right arm there. Marcus being another absolute giant in the sport. Yeah, for sure. And having some good results recently too.
Yeah, I mean, Devon has said before, it's all about your head gains, and I think Marcus wins out within all of Australia there.
Absolutely, yeah, for sure. Thank you to Cobus Prinz there joining the channel. I really appreciate it. It's great to see that happening. I didn't even know that was a thing until recently, so it just popped up and said people have joined your channel. I went, what is that? It's like, oh,
awesome.
okay. Yes, and Charles Puri coming in as number 10 on the right there. Charles doing very well in the AWE Grand Prix tournament number 2.
Yeah. Had a war with Ryan, right? I think, from memory.
No, it was a war with Marcus.
Marcus, okay.
Yeah, in the opening round, and this is the opening round of a double elimination tournament. They're both
not an ideal start.
Oh man, and you can see he was still breathing heavy like 20 minutes later for his next match. Like,
oh man, I know that feeling.
Yeah, especially the tournament, like that's the first round. Both those guys sort of wiping each other out for the event. Let me bring that up because it's such an incredible matchup. I think it was very early on. Let's have a look here. That's Riddickid, and there's Brett Coots and Steve, and let's find Charles and Marcus. Where are they? There's Marcus there. Hard to go past Marcus. He's such an enormous man. And there's Charles Puri on the right. So both guys sitting in the 9 and 10 position in the sport on Jacob's open Oceanic ranks.
Oceanic.
Yep, that's the one. And we're going to start here. I might see if I can skip through because they're messing around a fair bit here. Now we're going to go to the refs group. All right, rather than watch that, let's just watch the actual start of the match.
Yes.
All right, here we go. So Marcus on the
almost looking like he's set up for a press or something.
He does. Yeah, it's very interesting positioning. Although I think he drops. I think honestly that he's that forwards to be able to drop back harder.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't normally press at all. So let's have a look. Here we go. Yeah. So he's dropped back. Yeah, and he scooped Charles back to the middle.
So they've both got access to pronation, but neither of them's got their cut.
That's right. Yeah, it's almost like a low hand position where you both sort of locked into that spot, but you can't really flex your wrist. Marcus having the pronation that he needs to stay alive in that position. Charles working really hard trying to get Marcus to the pad. He can see the
climb. Yeah,
he's this far away, but now he's come all the way back to the center. He's taking a deep breath. Marcus happy to just sit there and let him work. You can see Marcus just watching Charles. He's just watching him and seeing when is the moment that I'm going to come up and just go straight through him here.
Can he stand up and press, Marcus?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think that's usually how he'll win his matches. Is he'll sit here like this in this position until people get absolutely wrecked, which is what's happening with Charles. He bumps forwards every now and then, puts a bit of pressure back on, and then you'll see him come up and get the press when he feels that.
Yes.
There he goes. Well, he's looking for it. There it is.
Very similar to Michael Todd in that respect.
That is correct. Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. But that was the opening round. So you can see how long.
Brutal.
And it's a tournament, so
Yeah, tough start for sure.
Yes, after that, both guys pretty wrecked, but they still went on and did quite well throughout the rest of the tournament. But I think they both made it to about the semi-finals before getting eliminated at that point. But yeah, incredible match. Did we get a restart there? Was there a restart for a reason? No. Who is that? That's Marcus and who is this? Oh, no, it's Charles again? Yeah, what are they doing?
Yeah, it looks like Charles.
Why are we getting him again?
Is there a dispute? Maybe.
That's right. It was so the second Grand Prix tournament was first to 2 pins as opposed to just
okay.
Yeah, that's
right.
I was confusing myself then. So Charles getting defeated with the press in that first round. Yeah, that's another aspect of this tournament that I had forgotten, that it was first to 2, and so they've had a war for their first round, and then they've done the same
There's
thing
another war
for the second, and just jumped straight into that same spot again, and it's almost a repeat of the first round. You can see Charles trying to climb there. He's trying to
climb, yeah.
Yeah, he's just not quite.
Definitely the smart thing to do.
Yeah, he's not quite.
And he's got to keep. Yeah, he's got to keep his cup enough to counter that press when it comes up as well.
Absolutely, Cobus Prince
got a bit more cup this time.
That's right. Yeah, so he's trying to roll over. You can see the pronation movement of Charles there. He's doing everything right, but Mark is just able to contain that with his finger strength, with his clamp, and his positioning of his body. Charles taking deep breaths now. It's only a hit every now and then. He's trying to get through. Marcus, you can see he's just watching Charles. Look at that. He's just looking straight at Charles, bumping him, just seeing.
Oh, my God. Oh, brutal.
Yeah. Just waiting for his moment, and there it came along.
He's so sticky down that bottom there.
Yes.
He reminds me of this other puller from New South Wales called Andy Serick. He's got a big sticking point down the bottom there as well. A lot of people struggle to get through.
Yeah. That's fantastic. Well, yeah, so that was their opening match. And
crazy.
That's probably why they're sitting at number 9 and 10 on the rankings list there for the Oceanic area, because both guys are doing such amazing things in their competitions that they've entered. And I know Charles is doing. He's almost. I think he's almost the perennial number 2 to Mata Rangi over in.
Yep, that's my understanding. He's number 2 in New Zealand.
There you go. Absolutely. Any matches that you've got upcoming for yourself, Jacob?
Well, New South Wales Champ's coming up in a couple of weeks, so I'm going to go down for that. That should be a good time. That's actually the same weekend as my 30th birthday, so yeah, it should be a good weekend with the lads.
And what weight categories are you entering?
I'll probably go under 80. I'll see on the day, I guess, if I feel like going up. But I'm not coming in the form that I did last year, so I might just stick in the 80s this time around. Trying to. I was debating kind of pulling on left at all, just to I'm just starting to recover a little bit now. Jordan Davis kind of talked to me. He's like, yeah, I'm down there. Like, you may as well. So, yeah, I might not do more than one. When are you heading back over to compete? From Ashley to New Zealand, you mean? I don't know. I'll have to see. Like, I guess nationals would be one I'll consider. But it'll depend on what form I'm in by then, because at the start of this year, I kind of wrote this year off as like a recovery year, trying to rehab, and it was bloody New Zealand nationals that did this to me. Actually, I was explaining to Matt before. I was after pulling some of the guys after New Zealand nationals in strat, felt a pain kind of through this part of my hand, and it's just turned off my cupping power. And funnily enough, cupping is one of the most important vectors in arm wrestling. So trying to recover that. And then hopefully I can make a good run for Australian nationals at the end of this year.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Cobus Prince asking, are these guys allowed to compete in the World's Arm Wrestling in Bulgaria this year? Absolutely, if they want to. It depends if they want to fly all the way over to compete there. But I don't.
So you gotta get top 2 at nationals to compete at Worlds. Obviously, there are some categories like if you're competing in the Masters, or they probably have some like para arm wrestling categories as well, or juniors as well as another one. So you might not need to get top 2 for those. But if you're in like the seniors, then yeah, it's like top 2 from the weight class at nationals. It can go to Worlds.
Would you go to Worlds if you want?
Dude, I would love to. I would love to. A couple of years ago, I actually qualified, but I felt like my level wasn't at the point it needed to be. So I would have loved to go, I guess, this year had I qualified and had I not got injured. So yeah, I'd love to go in the future for sure.
Oh, absolutely. There you go. What have we got here? Mr. Peanut, arm wrestling for nerds. Okay. I don't know what he was referencing there. Cobes Prince saying about the match with Marcus and Charles just a second ago. It was amazing how open his arm was and still won. Yes, that is the power of the King's move position there.
Yeah, a lot of arm power.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you King's move at all?
I've been trying to learn a little bit, but I feel like you really need to, for me at least, I don't have the natural arm power required. Like it's when I'm out here, it's easy to get that little bit extra. I feel like you need that Michael Todd style where you've kind of got it looping around your wrist and get that drag through that bottom strap style training, which I've never done. So it'd be interesting to trial that for a little bit and then see if you could progress it to the point the King's move feels more viable.
Absolutely. What about a couple of your favorite moments in arm wrestling that you've experienced? Whatever they could be, a match, or it could be watching something, or
it's 100% getting to match Sam Burnett in the final 2 years ago at Nationals. That was all my boys were in the just beside the table yelling at me. For it to be a super close match back then as well. It was the peak of my arm wrestling career for sure.
Tell us about how the match went. Like, what was it like stepping up on the stage? So this is for the finals, right? This is the division.
This is for the final. So yeah, I took down his brother Nick in a very close match in the semi-final. And then there was a relatively short turnaround before I went back up against Sam. And I had Sam in my mind the entire year's prep. He was like number one on my first goal list I ever made. So I even though I was tired, I channeled all this energy that I'd been keeping inside me all year, all this motivation into this match. First round, in the setup, I felt like my top roll got set down. So last second, I put my shoulder in to try press, and he spanked me. Then I went to Mario and Gary and some of the other boys, and they're like, "Dude, what the hell are you doing trying to press Sam?" So obviously, I worked on I was like, I need to go all in on this top roll. Got a little bit of a better setup. I was really trying to use my thumb and get my pronation activated, minimize his coverage around my pronation chain. Was able to stick a top roll, take his hand a bit. Managed to get him to drop down to a King's. So he drops down here. I'm like, I've got his hand, but only a little bit. It's not full hand control. And I knew he was going to probably bleed me in that position. So I immediately transitioned to shoulder committed hook. In hindsight, I should have waited. So one piece of table IQ I actually picked up from that day is if you're in a stable position, you're better off holding that position until you start fatiguing and then transition to a fresh one, rather than transitioning immediately into your theoretical counter, because you're better off transitioning once they're a little bit tired in whatever move they're doing. So yeah, what ended up happening there is I was absolutely maxing red-faced to stop him pulling through. He was nearly able to supinate me, but not quite. And then it was pretty close. It was close to just going then, but then he didn't like what he felt, and he elbow fouled off the back to get a restart. The ref didn't see it, and so I was I was about my hand was starting to get taken. I'm like, I want this restart. This is the one time my opponent has done a professional foul, and I actually want the restart as well because I was about to lose. Yeah. So then I said to the ref, hey, his elbow's off. Come on, let's get a restart. So then he went to stop it. But as he went to stop it, my elbow came up because I think Sam went to reach forwards or something, and I kind of back pressured or something. So I ended up fouling at that point after the main ref was already coming forwards to stop it. So then it was a conjunctive foul, and I was like, no.
That's not what I meant.
So then we restarted and hit the same kind of top roll, and I did crack his hand a little bit, but in the process, my elbow came off the side. So then that's the second foul, and I fouled out. Brutal.
That's horrible.
But still, that round that I was in there with him was highlight of my arm wrestling career for sure.
Oh, and did you think, I've got it, I'm going to get this, I'm going to go through, I'm going to win? Was that through your
I think
mind?
it was close enough that it was going to take a lot of positioning and like table IQ adjustments. Like I love those matches where it's really close and table IQ actually makes a difference. And I love pulling King's movers. Like it's a really fascinating puzzle to try and solve. So getting to face a King's hooker at such a high level was a great experience.
Oh, for sure. That's incredible. What about anything watching? Like, have you watched some of your teammates get huge victories, or celebrated? You guys sort of go to events as a team, as the Newcastle guys, and seeing them do well, and had moments where you were like, "This is amazing." And
yeah, absolutely. So the club has really come up. Like Newcastle started off as just like a little club, like just a bunch of younger university kids, and since then we've kind of turned into nationally competitive. Like we've had several medals, particularly on the women's side. We've got quite a good female engagement in the Newcastle club, so that was really cool to see, getting a few like bronzes and silvers. And then more recently on the men's side, at the recent nationals, Aidan Weinman managed to get, I think it was bronze on left arm, and he was close. He had a really close match with Leo Marcus for the silver as well. I think he maybe initially got hand positioning and wasn't able to quite pin before Leo took the professional foul for the restart, and then Leo figured out. He made a really good table IQ adjustment, and I think he put his shoulder in after that and got Aidan down to the pad. So. But yeah, for Aidan to get bronze at nationals was phenomenal. Seeing his mum is an inspiration too. She's like the oldest member we've got there, and she's walking away with several medals herself throughout the state champs. And I think she also maybe got a medal or two at nationals.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, the whole club super proud of where it's come in the 4 years since I started it.
Well, you can see the passion when you talk about it, and even just when the guys from the club have written comments there, just like, yes, can't wait to see you guys again. It is very much a community thing, isn't it? It's really
100%.
difference. There's two questions here that I really would love to get through. And Mr. Peanut was asking about an ELO. Have you ever considered an ELO ranking system, the same sort of one that they use for chess? For yours?
Yeah, so that is more like what so Duan from the AAF has a ELO based ranking system, and like my ranking is kind of in conjunction with his. They're not they've both got their pros and cons. The benefit of PIN for a rank is it updates faster. So there's some is still got the number one ELO in the country. And I know until not considered one in the under 70s, despite dominating that class for years. So I think maybe the ELO system could work if there's a little bit of adjustments to make things update maybe a little bit faster. Which I know Duan is currently working on a different system. He's got, I forget the mathematical name for it, but he's got this new one that he's working on at the moment, where it kind of takes into account a web of results and then gives you your rank based on all your prior performances. So that's a new one to kind of look out for when that eventually drops.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, there is the issues with the ELO ranking system. It works well for chess because there are so many matches that people play, and it works really well over a lot of matches and a lot of data. But when maybe you've got one national event a year, and maybe somebody comes in and they only compete one time and they win might win it, but then because they've only had one result throughout the year, and others might have done 4 or 5 things, they're going to be ranked way higher, and it's like, hang on, this dude just came in and won the title, like, so. Yeah,
so even my ranks, I was saying before, it can sometimes maybe incentivize activity too much. I feel like ELO maybe incentivizes it even more than that. So you have to, like you're saying, have a lot of results to kind of reach your accurate ELO ranking.
That's right, absolutely. We've got a great question here from Cobus Prince, who says, we want to start a ranking system in our club. How would you suggest it works? And is it a good thing or a bad thing to have?
I think it's 100% a good thing. It motivates a lot of guys. They even if they're not on board at the start, they'll kind of look at that rank and say, I think I can beat that guy. And then they'll be more likely to take a match with them. I noticed it in my club. I noticed it within New South Wales. You get a lot more activity when you get a little bit of fame, getting your name on the ranking list. In regards to how it works, nobody's going to be 100% happy. You're always going to get people that are salty. So just do your best initial guess, and then from there, if you win, you get a rank, and then they take that rank, and then the rest of the guys slot down one. That's the best way I've found to do it, and the simplest to implement as well.
Sorry, I didn't interrupt there.
Go ahead, Matt. I'm finished.
No, well, that's the thing is, I think probably the simplest way, Cobus, to start rankings is have a tournament, and then just set the rankings off of the results, because it's hard to argue if it's like the most recent thing. It's like, yeah, okay, you guys may be better and you had 2 matches in the past, whatever. We're going to start these ranking things. We're just going to start with the baseline at this tournament. If you want to be on the rankings and, not be dropped down into the inactive list or whatever, we'll go off the rankings off the tournament. And then whatever happens from there, if you don't agree with somebody's rank, challenge them for a match. If you win, you take their spot. Then
exactly.
For us, with the SA Titans Club, that has worked tremendously well, because at any point, if there's any question about somebody being in a certain position, it's like, well, just if you don't agree with it, just have a match with them.
Exactly. Yeah.
Whereas, it is difficult, especially if it's opinion based, because then you're trying to compare, well, this guy beat this guy, but he beat him, but then they're there, and it's just like, oh God. And then you're trying to explain that to people. And,
yeah. If you can just point to a result, it's so much easier and less biased.
That's right. Absolutely. The way that they do it in the UFC is slightly different. And I don't know, I mean, there's lots of different ways to do rankings, but so rather than the UFC setting their own opinions or having a system, they have the top 20 media outlets all send in their opinions, and then they take an average, and then they put that out. Yeah,
right. So that's an interesting one. Yeah. Because presumably they'd be pretty expert in that field.
That's right. Yeah. So that way, you've got the people that are heavily invested, heavily involved at a professional level, who are informed on all the fights, all the fighters, the results. They're up to date with everything, and then they're giving their opinion. And it's like, okay, well, that's a pretty credible opinion here. We're going to get 20 of those from the top 20 publications. Find the average. That's most likely the agreed upon rankings, even though there's still the question mark that still pops up every now and then about certain positionings. But you're never going to have a perfect system.
You're never going to make everyone happy either.
Have you had anyone get really upset?
Oh yeah, people have been upset, and I just like, well, kind of like you were saying, like if you feel that way, just go and beat that person. Yeah. It's very, very simple system to, like, it's not like ELO where you're going to have to fight your way back for ages. It's just going to take one match. That's all it takes. And you'll be in where you deserve.
Exactly. Yeah. This was one of the issues with the ELO system. I was ranked higher than Taron Broad, even though I lost my first 2 matches and he won his class. Because I think it gives points to, like, if you're in the heavyweight division as opposed to the middleweights or whatever. So it will skew the result based on the weight of the opponent. It's like, you lost to these other 2 heavyweights, but but it was quite funny. Very good. So anyone you wanted to say hello to thank to anything else before we wrap up the show?
I just got to do a massive shout out to the Newcastle and Spartan clubs because I'm missing you lads like mad. I'm looking forward to seeing you, catching up with all of you in a couple of weeks' time. It's going to be good.
Fantastic. And so the club that's up there, have you started it officially yet? It is up and running?
Yep. It's called the Brisbane Arm Wrestling Lab. You can look us up on Facebook and Instagram. And we've reached kind of sustaining numbers already. So we've got 3 tables. So we're making good headway. We've got, Jordan Davis is one of the big regulars, and he's one of the top in the country.
Mm-hmm.
So he can, we've got a lot of knowledge available to help if you need any help with your techniques and how to build your strength. Hopefully it's a good value proposition and we can get a good club going.
Great. So people just look it up on Facebook. They get all the details there, and they might come along. If you're interested in training and you're in that Brisbane area, then going along to the arm wrestling lab may be for you.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, fantastic. All right. Well, thank you to everybody for watching tonight. Thank you to Jacob for coming on the show. It was awesome to be able to talk
Thanks
to you.
for having me, Matt.
That's all right. We went for almost 3 times longer than normal because I was very interested in everything that you had to say there. So,
to talk about. Thanks for having me.
Oh, good on you, mate. All right. Thank you again to everyone in the chat. And the Drew, cover your ears for the outro. He's very sensitive ears. All right. Thanks, guys.
All right.